welcome to the channel Rolling with Dave. My name's Dave and I'm the owner of Ornum LLC, a trucking company. Today's video is to introduce the channel and myself, but prior to trucking, I have done other things like most people. It is not in my blood. Trucking is not a family business. Trucking for us is a new venture. Started 5 years ago in 2016, but prior to that I was a real estate investor and property manager for 2 clients, and I also did property preservation for banks. And prior to that, and while doing that as well, I also worked as a surgical technologist in the open heart cardiovascular services, including transplantations, transplants of hearts and lungs and livers and kidneys. But Dave, why would you leave the OR and real estate for trucking? Well, believe it or not, there's a lot of money in trucking, a lot. So that's why I answered an ad and looked into it. I needed to get training and I needed to be paid at the same time. So going to school for trucking was expensive and I didn't feel that was the right route for me. So I looked into the Prime Inc. and I looked into Schneider and I looked into Warner. I looked into Rail and all of those, but ultimately chose to go with New Prime Inc. and got my training through them. And I found that to be a very good program, and I enjoyed it. I had 2 great trainers, one that got me through the permit stage of the license, and then I had 3 or 4 months with another instructor where we ran team back and forth, got enough miles before I was eligible to either enter their fleet or become a lease owner operator through that program. So with that program, you have to promise Prime that you'll drive for at least a year with them, and I gave them about a year and a half. But for me, Prime didn't allow us to really pick the lanes we wanted to run and how we wanted to run. It was all handled. You were dispatched, but it was not forced dispatch. But it didn't provide the true owner operator in business for yourself scenario that I need to be happy. I never done well punching a clock, and I like being in control of my day-to-day activities and don't like to be told where to go, when to go, and all that stuff. So after a year and a half, I left Prime and went over to Schneider. Schneider had at that time when I joined up the IC Choice board, where you used their load board and they had the freight, and you could pick whatever freight you wanted and go wherever you wanted or not go. And that was great. I did that again probably for another 2.5 years, and then I decided to leave Schneider and go out on my own, get my own numbers, and start my own trucking company, Ornum LLC. My wife, Lori, who you saw in the intro on the beach, she's the office manager, and she runs the back office and keeps me straight and narrow and makes sure I'm all in compliance and safe, and the drug consortium and the med cards are all straight, and all my taxes and fees are paid, and all the licenses are paid up. And she does billing and collections. So when I say we, that's the better half that's really making things work. We left Schneider, started our business, I think June 30th, 31st was our official start day when our numbers went active. And we've been doing pretty good so far. I can't complain. with what we have to work with. Now, I did take my lease truck from Schneider with me, and I still have that lease payment, and I am still on the hunt for a trailer. So currently I am power only, meaning I just don't own a trailer of my own. So I have to find loads that require a power only, or find a loadout trailer, and that's how I find the loads that I need. So, and lastly, my children. They're in the video. They're the last group of people you see just before the eagle. That is Andrew, Zachary, Victoria, and Chloe. Those are our 4 children, and that's kind of what makes this a little bit unique, different from all the other trucking channels. When I made the change 5 years ago to get into trucking, it's because I needed something that I wasn't going to be tied down to. I had 5 years to get into place a retirement plan, and that's what this really is all about: retiring in trucking, or how to retire while trucking. And that is because my wife and I will travel once our last child, Chloe, graduates this year in June. It's it's real soon. And so we'll be able to travel together. She doesn't drive, but she'll be able to do all the back office work from the truck. So the plan is to retire while trucking. I'll still be able to make an income, but I don't have to push so hard. And Lori can ride along with. We can go out for a week, take a week off wherever we land, and come back. But there's a lot of things that still have to happen before that even takes place. I mean, we can do some of it now, but ideally we still need that trailer in order to be able to go all the way out to California and not worry about having to get back with a loadout trailer, or worrying about trying to find another trailer out there that's coming this way. So that's part of the plan. And but there's a lot of other things that we offer, and that's going to be the daily strifes, the daily challenges, the daily ups and downs of trucking, like anybody else. Those happen. So that's the introduction. I've introduced myself, the company, my wife, my children, and what we plan for our future. So can it be done? Can you retire while trucking? I think it's possible. I think it's a great way to do it. You get to earn a living and go where you want, and stop when you want, and what else is there to do? So what do we have to do to make that a reality? So let's follow along and see what happens. We'll talk about daily strifes. We'll talk about the ups and downs. We'll talk about maintenance. We'll talk about weather. We'll talk about road conditions. We'll talk about loads. We'll talk about brokers. We'll talk about detention pay. All the trucking stuff we'll talk about. And life, trying to carve out our retirement. We're 50 something, and we are ready to live the rest of our lives together. We have raised our children. The last one is almost out of the house. We're going to be empty nesters, and we're going to enjoy life. So why don't you come along? Thanks for joining. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, please ask. Family and friends, ask all the questions you want. Be happy to answer them. Thank you.